During a routine patrol shift at a local shopping mall, Daniels discovered a sight that made his heart sink. On the parking lot, a 3-year-old girl was alone, afraid that no one would come to help. He approached the girl. He asked why she was here alone. The little girl looked up at the policeman and through her tears, her words made him shiver. "My mother doesn't want me anymore." Daniels opened his eyes wide with surprise and disbelief at what he just heard. How could that be right, when she was so young to be abandoned like that? Being kicked out of the house is unimaginable, but maybe this is just some misunderstanding. Maybe the girl didn't fully understand what she meant. And her parents are definitely somewhere nearby. Agent Daniels decided to keep the girl, ensuring her safety until her parents found her. They must have been very worried and searched everywhere for her. "My name is Jason, what's yours?" he asked her, hoping to gather some information if he could win her trust. "Ella," she replied shyly. "Oh, what a beautiful name," Jason smiled softly, and it made Ella's face light up. "Ella, let's go find your parents." "Do you know where they are?" he asked. The smile on her face immediately disappeared, her eyes filled with sadness. "No, I don't want you anymore," Ella exclaimed again, and Jason frowned, confused. He didn't want to make Ella sadder. But the worry that she might actually be alone was too much for him to ignore. Jason shook his head, telling himself that there could be no such thing. Her parents must be somewhere nearby. He is determined to resolve this situation, with the hope that he will find them soon. "Let's go for a walk, shall we?" Jason said, holding out his hand for Ella to hold and walking into the shopping center with her. He led Ella to the control room, where he explained the situation to the security officer on duty. Security staff immediately confirmed that Ella was lost and radioed for her parents to come to the information center immediately. "Don't worry, they'll be here soon," the staff member reassured. Hearing that, Ella became sad again. "No, I don't want you," she repeated in a choked voice, making Jason and the information officer feel helpless. Even so, Jason was not discouraged. He held Ella's hand tightly, determined not to let her feel lonely at this time, and hoped that her parents' arrival would soon resolve all misunderstandings. With worried eyes, Jason and the security staff decided to wait a little longer. The call was broadcast again, but there was no response. Only images from security cameras recorded the deserted hallways of the shopping center that was about to close. In order to ease the tense atmosphere, Jason came up with an idea. "Ella, let's play a game. The first person to see the yellow car will be the winner." Ella's eyes immediately lit up, and she nodded, smiling slightly. This is not only a fun game to help Ella temporarily forget her sadness, but also Jason's subtle way to naturally lead her back to the parking lot, without having to repeat sad stories about her parents. Hoping to find something different, they continued their search, their hearts filled with hope and their eyes filled with determination. Jason thanked the information officer, then he and Ella continued to leave the office, heading toward the parking lot. The air was chilly, and the parking lot was almost empty of traffic as people had left the shopping center to go home. Ella feels disappointed when she doesn't find any yellow cars. And Jason feels disillusioned for another reason. He couldn't believe that no one came looking for her. While Ella was still searching diligently, eyes moving back and forth hoping to see the yellow car, Jason glanced at her, thinking about the current situation. He didn't want to bother Ella with more questions about her family. Instead, he tried to think of what he could do next to best help her. He decides that the priority is to keep Ella safe and feeling cared for, until a solution is found. Jason couldn't leave her there, even though he had many questions about her family and home. Ultimately, he decides to take Ella to the police station, where he hopes to find a solution to the situation. "There's no yellow car here, right? Want to come with me to find somewhere else?" he asked. Ella nodded, mouth tight, seemingly ready for the next trip. As they walked, Jason noticed more unusual things about Ella's condition. Her hair was messy and knotted and her shirt was full of stains. He wasn't sure what had happened, but one thing he knew for sure: something was wrong. He felt a heavy responsibility weighing on his shoulders, determined to find the truth and ensure Ella's safety. In this mysterious situation, fortunately, Jason found a way to distract Ella, making her happy as she counted each yellow car they drove past on the way to the station. When they arrived, Jason's coworker, Michelle, was waiting outside to greet them. Without children, Jason believes that Ella will feel more comfortable next to Michelle, a woman who is a mother. In Michelle's office, her daughter's stuffed animals create a warm and welcoming space. When Ella discovered them, her eyes lit up brightly, surprised and excited. This kind care not only helps Ella feel safer, but also awakens innocent joy in her amid difficult circumstances. Michelle welcomed Ella with joy and a warm welcome, creating a safe and warm atmosphere for her. Meanwhile, Jason puts all his efforts into finding Ella's parents. He'd combed through dozens of databases and looked at every missing person report, but every clue seemed to lead to a dead end. He realized that this task was much more difficult than he thought, but his determination did not weaken. While Jason was diligently planning his next move, Michelle approached him with a worried look on her face. "Did you find out anything?" she asked. Jason shook his head, a feeling of helplessness passing through his eyes while Michelle sighed, disappointment written all over her face. The two know they must find a solution, not only for their mission, but also for Ella's safety and happiness. When Michelle shared her thoughts, her eyes were sad. "I think Ella had to live on the streets for a while. That doesn't say much about her parents, except that they probably didn't want to. Little girl at home." Michelle's words startled Jason, his eyes widened as he realized the gravity of the situation. In his heart, anger gradually boiled. How could anyone abandon such a lovely and adorable child like Ella in the cold and lonely darkness of the street? He nodded and thanked Michelle for her concern and thanks. "Can you spend a little more time with Ella? Maybe she will finally open up more," he said, hoping that Michelle's warmth and care could help Ella regain faith in things. People around, and from there, opens a new clue about her family. In the dimly lit security room, Officer Jason Daniels focused intently on the images that mall staff had provided. The screen flickers as a mysterious car appears, glides into frame, and stops in the parking lot, leaving Ella alone in the ominous darkness. The girl's loneliness here is like a silent introduction to the mystery that is gradually revealed. Jason took a pen and wrote down the car's registration number, a potential clue in this thrilling investigation. With determination, he entered the numbers into the police database, hoping that this would be the key to unlocking the story behind Ella's disappearance, and bringing him one step closer to solving the problem. Solve all mysteries. The computer screen flashed for a moment and then a depressing message appeared. The car could not be found in the system. Like a ghost, this car seems to leave no trace, making the mystery surrounding Ella's appearance even deeper. Jason sighed, plopped down in his chair and rubbed his temples, trying to dispel the fatigue. The connection between the car and Ella is undeniable, but its origins remain shrouded in darkness. Jason wondered if the person driving the car was just a random passerby or if they were the key to answering why Ella was left alone in that cold and desolate parking lot. Despite the paucity of current information, Jason did not allow anything to stop his determination. He stood up from his desk, filled with determination that he would clarify everything. Despite the walls of secrecy, Jason will never stop searching, because he knows that the truth always has a way to emerge. Realizing that conventional methods cannot bring him closer to the truth, Jason decides to dig deeper into the vague clues he has. With a renewed sense of determination, he expands his search from digital screens and databases to the real world, where Ella's story truly begins. Returning to the footage of the fateful day, Jason squinted, concentrating hard to find any smallest detail that might have been overlooked. He watched and rewatched the grainy footage, hunting for signs of abnormality in each human interaction with Ella. Every frame that passes, every angle of camera holds hidden clues in the darkness of that day. Jason knew, somewhere in these images of silence and stillness, there was the answer he was looking for. He not only wants to understand the story, but also wants to decode the mystery behind Ella's disappearance, bringing justice to the girl and her family. Determined to solve the mystery tormenting him, Jason walked out of the security office and followed the crowded streets surrounding the shopping center. He stopped next to passers-by and vendors, one by one, presenting Ella's photo and asking if they recognized this little girl. Their curious and worried eyes turned to the photo, but no one was able to provide any important information. By chance, in a small cafe not far from the shopping center, an unexpected meeting happened. The owner, a middle-aged man, was making coffee when he stopped when Jazz,